Paddy Power, sponsors of the Road to Cheltenham.
With Lydia and Ruby taking a well-earned break this week, we have come out on the road here to Jamie Snowden Racing to catch up with star rider Gavin Sheehan ahead of what could be a very profitable Cheltenham Festival. Coming up on the show, Gavin gives us an insight into the highlights of his campaign, discusses what a jockey needs to win at the festival, and tips his fancies for Prestbury Park's big prizes. We also hear from his partner in crime, trainer Jamie Snowden. Gav, great to see you. Thanks for joining us just after riding out here at Jamie Snowden Racing. You jockeys never seem to stop, always working hard. Jamie, obviously a trainer you've enjoyed great success with so far this season. You must be sort of pinching yourself at how well it's gone so far.
Yeah, no, look, it's gone great. Jamie's got a fantastic team here and he's got some nice horses, and you know he's always buying and always trying to improve.
Absolutely. I think that's together you're trying to do the same thing, always improving, aren't you? As a partnership, it really seems to have exploded into life this season. It's just going from strength to strength. Yeah, look, it's from a jockey's point of view, it's just we need to get on to good horses. Jamie seems like he's got better horses this year again, and you know, it's always easier to ride winners on better horses, and you know, lucky enough to be on them this year. And I imagine for you, having ridden a Cheltenham Festival winner last season and you wear it well, it must have been lovely for you to come back this campaign, ride to victory at Wetherby. A perfect start to the campaign for her. Yeah, look, it was brilliant. Little Lucy was in behind us, obviously, and that's obviously come out and franked the form again. But look, she's a tough, honest, hardy sort, and she gives her all. So each day you're going out there, you know you're going out there with a chance, and yeah, look, she's a pleasure to ride, and that day at Cheltenham was obviously massive and very special. Yeah, and does that kind of performance, that ride at Cheltenham, give you a lot of confidence into a season like this one? I suppose it does, but you know, it's a funny old game with a jockey. It's you know, you just ride each horse as they come, and it's kind of one of those. If you're riding a couple that aren't as good, then you don't feel as good yourself, and if you're riding better ones, then you're feeling better. But it's you know, you got to stop and actually look back and think that you're going well and that you're well able to do it. And it's you know, riding the likes of her, when you're getting on nice horses and you know you're out there with a chance, then you're feeling good anyway. Are you one of those jockeys that spends a lot of time in the form book, so before a race you'll make sure you know what every other horse is like before you concentrate on yours? Not really. I used to sit down and do all the form, but horses have bad days and there's different tracks and different ground and different tactics all the time, so I try not to rely solely on that, because I used to do that, and then you get somebody who's made the run in the last 4 times, and all of a sudden they go to drop it out, and then the complexion of the race totally changes and the whole thing's gone out the window. So I try to go out there with plan A, but I've got plan B, C, D, E, F, G, all the ways down. Yeah, hopefully not have to use plan G very often. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And since you've cut it out, stopped doing that form book research, it all seems to have kicked off, so taken off for you. Yeah, look, it's I'm kind of just, I'm probably allowed a bit more freedom with the way I ride now. And I think that's key, really, going out there just with the freedom. We got plan A, which is handy or whatever, and then I can suss it out from there. But it's still, you get down to the start and the horse can give you a different feel on the way down to the start compared to the time before, or if he goes down there lazy, you know, you have to be a bit more aggressive early or something. If they go down there keen, you can be a bit quieter. Just to switch them off. But knowing the tracks, knowing the ground, knowing, you know, a lot more, once I have that freedom, I can just get myself into a comfort zone, and then I can take it from there. Okay, interesting stuff. You certainly got in a comfort zone riding the sadly departed That's All Right Gino in the Coral Gold Cup. It was a magnificent ride, and it was widely acclaimed afterwards. Held him up, came with a late run, pretty much past every horse in the race. That must have given you some thrill. It was a good buzz. Yeah, coming from last to first, it wasn't what we intended to do, but again, like that, it was kind of, I just had to ride in the moment rather than, you know, drill him to be in that position. I'd say 70% of my races, 75%, I've probably won from the front. So for me to be coming from last to first, it was a different experience. But from there, you know that one's beat, and you're kind of like looking across, because obviously I was down the inside, and
I suppose when you're doing that and knowing that they're all beat and you're kind of coming through and knowing how much horse I had underneath me was it was a nice feeling.
Yeah, I bet. And amazingly, 2 of your biggest winners this season have come from last to first. One of those being That's Right, Gino. The other being Hewick in a slightly different manner. But we're going to have a look at that now, aren't we? And I think, Gav, if you could try and talk us through some of this. It was different, wasn't it, from That's Right, Gino? Because I suppose Hewick may not have the tactical speed to keep up with some of these in the King George. And although in the early part of the race he was able to keep tabs on most of this in front of him, it did get a little bit harder for him, didn't it, as the race wore on?
It did, and it was one of those where, you know, I spoke with obviously Shark beforehand, and he said, you know, he's not short of speed. So I was thinking to myself, if I jumped off and I was in a 3rd position, 4th position, something like that, I'd be happy. But as I jumped off good and sharp, and I just thought I'd get him into a good rhythm. Like he's obviously been quick enough to go around Galway, and Galway's a sharp enough right-handed track and a bit undulating, but you need to have speed around there, and I thought I'd be fine. But when I jumped off and wasn't able to hold my own, I thought it's a different ball game. But it wasn't until here turning in that I started to think, oh, I'm going to run on here nicely, and I thought I'd get 4th. You know, and I thought 4th was in the bag. But yeah, the complexion of the race changed, and I think it changed, I suppose. Shiskin was giving the others that lead, and when he came undone, it wasn't until I actually passed Nico on the ground that my lad suddenly started to feel like he was taking off, and he started to quicken on a bit. And the other 2, I suppose, they were up there the whole ways, and you know, they were obviously after taking each other on. But as soon as I landed from the back of the last, he's ended up going away winning easy, and I could stand up and look at the crowd and do my own celebration. Knew I had it in the bag, but that was some feeling, because I thought we had a chance going into it, because I just thought there was a couple in the race that were there was a few question marks about. But yeah, look, it was brilliant, and it worked out, you know, even better.
Given the fact that Shishkin was in the lead when he unseated Nico at the second last, and you came with that flying run, do you think had he not unseated Nico, you would have won nonetheless?
Yes, I think I would have. I think what Nico was doing with Shishkin was always just staying in front of the other 2. I think he was just doing enough, and he was obviously workmanlike, but I think he would have just stayed in front of the 2 of them. But the speed I came, I don't think he would have been able to come back at me. I think he was probably going to stay a length in front of the other 2. But when I jumped the last and picked up as well as I did, then I don't think Nico would have had time to get back at me.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Good.
And the Gold Cup, are you hoping to retain the ride there?
Hopefully, but obviously, you know, it's you know, the Sharks said, you know, enough times now that if Jordan's back, that he's going to ride him, which is great respect to him. And look, hopefully for Jordan that he's back, but you know, on the same side, hopefully for me that he's going to be a week late and that I'll get the ride. That's selfish point of view, but that's the game we're in, unfortunately. But it's you know, if he's back, then you know, brilliant for him, and you know, he's obviously got a great relationship with Hewick, and if not, then hopefully I'll be there to take his place.
Good ground, do you think would be vital
good ground,
to
yeah.
him? Yeah.
You know, the Sharks obviously said, like, you know, if he gets good ground, he's come out in the papers with it there that he's not afraid to gallop the Sharks. Well, he's looking forward to taking him on in good ground.
I love that confidence, though.
Oh yeah. I promise you, I thought I was on an odds-on shot when I was after speaking to the Shark about the riding him. You know, it was. I remember ringing Gordy Clarkson, my agent, and you know, I rang him and I said, "Jeez, I'm going to ride the King George winner," and all the lads were taking the mick out of me inside the weighing room. They were like, "Oh, you're going to win the King George?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I am." He was one of those messing with him, but you know, he did put a lot of confidence into me and said this horse will take a lot of beating, and he's right.
I've got to say, riding for someone like Shark looks a lot of fun.
It is, to be fair, and you know something, it's nice coming back into the winners' enclosure and you see Shark. He got the crowd going good and rightly, but you know, that there was a good old buzz coming back in, and you know, you can probably enjoy it, and I think that's the way it should be. You know, that obviously high in emotions and everything else, and the only thing Shark needs to do is get better at splashing out that champagne. That was a very bad effort.
Yeah, it certainly was. I'm going to talk to you about some of the big races at this year's Cheltenham Festival in a few moments' time. But earlier on, I caught up with Jamie Snowden, who of course is in partnership with Gavin Sheehan, about You Were It Well, last year's Cheltenham Festival winner, and about his hopes and ambitions for this year's campaign. It's been a fantastic season for both you and Gavin Sheehan, a great few months. What is it you think about your partnership that has worked so well?
I think probably communication is probably, I would put as at the top. Support, trust. You know, we understand each other. I suppose we've been working together for several years now, and really over the last 4 or 5 years, the results probably speak for themselves. You know, the quality's gone up. You know, we've been lucky. We've always had plenty of winners, but certainly we're having far nicer winners now as well, which is great. And I think we both trust each other and support each other well.
And how much do you talk to Gavin before the race about each horse? Do you leave it mainly to his kind of judgment, or do you have a big say yourself?
Well, we always used to have a saying in the army: every plan only survives first contact with the enemy. And you know, I think the same goes in any race. You know, as much as you set out with a plan, ultimately you've got the jockey's riding the horse, and you've kind of got to leave it up to him depending on how the race pans out. But yeah, we definitely set out with a plan in each race. But you know, I think the beauty of our relationship is that, as I say, we trust each other, and if he has to change that plan accordingly, then we'll go along with it, and you know, hopefully it works out.
Absolutely. And the good horses that you've got at the moment has allowed Gavin, I suppose, to showcase what he can do on a bigger stage. What are the qualities you think that make him stand out amongst some of the other riders?
Well, he's always been a very strong jockey. You know, from the back of the last, you wouldn't want to change him with any other jockey in the weighing room. I wouldn't have thought. Bound to be biased slightly, but you know, he's always been a very strong jockey. I think tactically, he's got a lot more confidence in himself now to ride the race according to how the horse needs to be ridden. Whereas, you know, perhaps in the old days, you know, we might try and force the issue a little bit, but you know, I think that's right. Gino winning the Coral Cup was typical of that. You know, we jumped off with the plan of being fairly handy, and we ended up sort of being rustled to the back, and Gav didn't panic and allowed him to find his feet and work his way into the race. And you know, I think that really showcases where Gavin's talents really lie now.
In terms of your success this season with other horses, it's great that You Were It Well and Garlaw, two of your other flagship horses in the yard, have already got that success on the board before Cheltenham's even begun.
Yeah, so You Were It Well, obviously festival winner from last year. It was great to sort of win the listed race at Wetherby at the start of this year. Her season's sort of, listen, she's had a good season, but everything we tried to go for has been cancelled. The Fighting Fifth was obviously rescheduled from Newcastle to Sandown. She was third in that, and then we were going to go to a listed race at Sandown, that was cancelled. We were going to go to the Lingfield Millions, that was cancelled. We were going to go to Ascot, that was cancelled. We were going to go to Warwick, that was cancelled. Thankfully, the BHA have transferred that race up to Haydock on Saturday, so hopefully we'll go up there and hopefully have every chance to get ahead in front again before Cheltenham. But yeah, she'll obviously, the plan will be to go for the mayor's race, but she'll have an entry in the Coral Cup as well.
I'm looking forward to talking about Garlaw, who's been a bit of an enigma for some of the season, but really bounced back last time. And that was a lovely victory to enjoy, I imagine, for yourself particularly.
Oh, it was brilliant. You know, to win the feature handicap on Trials Day was a great thrill. He obviously won the Paddy Power last year, and you know, was sort of riding the crest of a wave through the winter, and then took a nasty fall at Doncaster when coming to win the Skybet Chase. Fell on his side. It was pretty nasty. So really nice to see him back, and it's all credit to the whole team at home, because you know, his confidence was sort of you know, an all-time low on the back of Doncaster. So yeah, great team behind him, and thankfully it's all credit to them. They got him back. And
he's not got an entry in the Ryanair, but I'm led to believe that's a possibility.
Yeah. So this time last year I had him entered in every possible race you could possibly think of. This year, because we were on a bit of a retrieval mission, I didn't put the entries in because, you know, we had to see him back, and obviously the entries for the Ryanair came out before the Trials Day, which you know, there's reasons to believe perhaps, you know, that's not the right thing to do. But anyway, so he's not entered, but he's gone up to 156 now, and I think, you know, to win any handicap at the festival, you've got to be, you know, £7 or £8 in hand, and you know, if he improves £7 or £8, then you know, he's right there in the mix for for the Ryanair. So I think it makes sense to supplement him for that, but we'll wait obviously until the day, put the entry in.
And I wanted to touch on Colonel Harry too, who could go to the festival. He is quite ground dependent, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks that way. He obviously really appreciates soft ground. He's only beaten the length in the Henry VIII Grade 1 at Sandown, won a Grade 2 up at Wetherby, the Towton, and then obviously we ran him in the Scilly Isles. Plenty of reasons why we ran him in that, but the ground was drying out. He was third in that. Didn't probably run to quite the level of form he had been before. So it does look like soft ground is fairly important to him. So he's in the Turners and the Arkle. The Turners will be the plan, but yeah, we just need the rain to fall.
Finally, your best chance of a Cheltenham Festival winner this year would be?
Good question, Tom. We go there with a good view. Listen, if it rains, Colonel Harry and the Turners, I think, actually, he's probably overpriced at that kind of figure. Yeah, so listen, let's hope it does rain and Colonel Harry. If it doesn't rain, then Garlaw in the Ryanair. So
Jamie said his best chance, he thinks, is going to be Colonel Harry if the ground comes up soft. If not, then Garlaw in the Ryanair. Gav, what do you think yours would be?
Look, I'm one of those that just sit on the fence. It just depends on ground, I suppose, for them two horses. You know, Colonel Harry loves the mud, and the harder work it is, the better for him in a sense. It just slows down the pace. He feels like a better horse on it. So yeah, he's certainly one to look forward to, and I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. There's still more to come from him, and you know, hopefully he'll be primed and ready for the day that Colonel Harry. Yeah, I'm with you actually. I do think he's the type we are yet to see the best of. There's something that says to me he has got a big day in him. Yeah, he definitely does. Look, his first go over fences this year, you know, was down at Chepstow. He put in a nice enough performance that day, but he was still a little bit behind the bridle. He used to be keen last year when he was running over hurdles, but this year he's a little bit more behind the bridle. He's probably just a bit more relaxed, more so than anything. And I think because he's a bit more relaxed, he's not as exuberant, as quick as what I would have expected. But he stepped up to 2.5 miles this year as well. But second go over fences, we just pecked at the first in the 2 mile. King Henry VIII at Sandown. He just pecked at the first, and it just put me on the back foot, and I was kind of chasing from there. And one thing you don't want to be doing is chasing around Sandown.
And you just lost as well, didn't he?
Yeah, like, he was staying on very strongly, but you know, he's kind of always been up there in the pace and making it. And I was sat at the back after jumping the first, really, I suppose. And from there, when you're chasing around there, and he's only had one go over fences before that, and you know, La Patreon was after running handicap and everything. He had loads of experience, and I think that's what got us beat, and that's why the winner was able to win, was just the experience and everything. But we lacked that a little bit. But you know, he's just a solid horse. He does like Sandown, so hopefully Cheltenham won't be a factor too much. But look, he's a very lovable horse.
Okay, if soft ground, keep an eye on Colonel Harry then.
I quite like Monty Starr. I think he obviously didn't run up to scratch last year in the Albert Bartlett, but I do think he's improved off his first run of the season this year, and he is a horse that stays very well. He's just an unknown a little bit, you know. I think he still has a bit to give. He's been lightly handled this season, and he could be won off a big price to run a big race. I'm not saying that he'd beat the likes of Factor 5, but I think he could run a big race.
Okay, so let's move on to Cheltenham Festival itself and some of the races maybe you won't be riding in, but are certainly worth watching from a racing fan's point of view. The Big Four contest, starting with the Champion Hurdle. Constitution Hill, we all know what he's capable of, last year's Champion Hurdle winner. Now, I wanted to get your opinion on this, because I've heard a good few judges in recent weeks saying that they think State Man could actually give him a race this year. What do you think?
Look, it's always nice, and it's nice for opinions, and everybody's got different opinions. State Man's won 3 Grade 1s this year. Constitution, I think, has only ran once, is he? He's only 1 Grade 1, but it's, yeah, look, he's a classy horse. He's the one I'd love to train. He's the one I'd love to ride. He's the one I'd love to own. He ticks all the boxes for me. They might want to make it a 2-horse race, and it's going to be a 2-horse race. but I'd imagine State Man will be in second place and Constitution Hill will be in first.
And we've seen some brilliant champion hurdlers over the last few years, looking at Faheen, Annie Power, that kind of horse. In your opinion, where would Constitution Hill sit amongst those? For me, I would say he's the best, probably the best we've seen since Listerbrag. Yeah,
I would say so. He's got it all. He's got class, but it's that speed and it's the way he races. I love the way he races, and then he turns into the straight and it's like, give him a kick in the belly and he's away. And he powers up the hill. He's got a lot of class.
He looks like an equine aeroplane almost, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Just got to sit back and enjoy the ride.
Do you know something? It was so scary watching him going down to the last year, wasn't it?
Oh, so?
That was just, that's what the game is about. It's just them millimetres away from complete disaster that we've seen with Andy Power a couple of years ago. But it's...
he was so long at the last, wasn't he?
He was very long, but that's the scope he has, and that's the class he has. And you know, like Nico obviously wasn't under any pressure, and it's one of those you just want to let him go down and let him dance away and fiddle away down to it, in a sense, just get up over. But like he's come and he's still got the scope to get there, but like he's a very impressive horse.
One thing I'm dying to see, I have to say, is Nico really seeing what's under the bonnet. As in letting him go, give him maybe a smack or two, and just seeing what he's capable of. Because so far, all you've seen is him on the bridle. Like, what do you think, as a rider, he might have if really let loose?
I wouldn't like to see him off the bridle.
Really?
I wouldn't. It's kind of one of those that, like, I think these horses that, you know, that have the match race, if they've got, like he's obviously got loads of talent, and if he's winning within himself, then brilliant. But I think if he met another one and he had to give everything, then he might not come back the same horse, in a sense. So I wanted to see him stay on the bridle for as long as he can, because we'll see a superstar for as long as we can.
Okay, let's move on then to the Champion Chase, and El Fabiolo is the market leader at the moment. He's going to be taking on John Bond most likely, and Edwardstone as his two main rivals. Do you think either of those could lay a hand on him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. John Bond we haven't seen the best of. He's clearly got a lot of talent, but we almost haven't seen the best of him yet, I don't think. There's more under the bonnet. I think, like, if you get him on a day where he's going down and he's actually winging and attacking his fences and not spending too much time in the air, and not the jockey not having to do everything for him, if he went down and took the jockey down, you'd have a far better horse. Edwardstone the other day I thought was just unbelievable.
Electric,
that was a pleasure to watch. Yeah. I got a good thrill out of watching him. It was nice to see him out in front there and do his thing, and he went a good old gallop now, and I thought the way he was jumping, if John Bond jumped like Edwardstone and went down and winged him and actually, you know, made a length rather than trying to lose half a length, you'd see a proper horse in John Bond. But Edwardstone, I really liked him now. You know, hopefully if they might just change their tactics, and in the sense of staying with them tactics and pop them out, then we could see a proper Champion Chase, and it looks a good one this year. Yeah,
it certainly does. I have to say I'm with you on both John Bond and Edwardstone. I think if John Bond produces something like he did in the Schlur Chase, where he was sent on quite early and jumped much better than he did last time in the rearranged Clarence House, and I can see him running a big race too. And just like you, I've always been a massive fan of Edwardstone as a horse.
Yeah.
And I think he's got gears to burn. I'm not sure 2.5 really suited him, coming back to 2 miles. I think he just really enjoyed it again.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I could never have seen him at 2.5, to be honest. 2 miles is just tailor-made for him, but I think it's the pace. I think the pace is the key with him. Once he can get into his comfort zone and be relaxed, then you'll see a far better horse. The other day he was obviously out in front and was able to go his own gallop. I don't think races were run to suit with him recently. You know, when they stepped him up to 2.5, then he's a little bit keen. But if it's a bit stop-start and it's not suited by him, if he can switch off straight away, get into a good rhythm, then you see a far better Edwardstone.
Okay, good stuff. Let's move on to Thursday. Stairs Hurdle, very open race at the moment. Rob Corlick to hold a pretty strong hand. Tupu, Irish Points. Then we've got Crambo, an English Challenger, and a few others down the list, like Monkfish even. There's a few in there, aren't there, kind of lingering around. You could definitely have a play on the race. What's your main thought on the likeliest winner at the moment?
it's one of the Irish ones anyway. Could well be Irish Point, but it's to me it's all about the Irish horses. Don't think we've got the strongest group of staying hurdlers over here. It just we're chopping and changing over here. There hasn't been one standout horse over here, I don't think. You know, and it'll be a little bit ground dependent for a couple of them as well inside the race. But I could see it definitely going over to the Irish.
How amazing would it be if Paisley Park finished in front? I mean, it would take the roof off, wouldn't it?
Oh, would, yeah. Be amazing. Be great for Tom Bellamy as well. But yeah, like he's been a superstar and a proper horse, and at his age as well, and he's still giving what he can. You know, it's brilliant to see.
Well, just on him, because he's obviously finished a very close second in top-level races so far this season, a couple of times. To me, it does look as though he comes there to win and then thinks to himself, actually, you know what, I've done so much ground, I can't be bothered to do the rest of it.
Look, it'd annoy you as a jockey because you're probably feeling there's more to give. And there's nothing worse when you're riding a horse and you think, oh, there's more there, and you're still finishing second. You're thinking, like, is there? You might be thinking, yeah, if there is more. But look, he's got plenty of talent, and like that, I agree with you, and think like he almost comes there to go on. Like he looked to me like he could have nearly won it, probably should have won it, Ascot. And he looked like he could have won at Cheltenham as well the other day, and he gets there and then maybe just tips away and thinks, I'm happy here with the other horses.
Okay, so you think an Irish winner for the Stairs Hurdle, Irish winner for the Gold Cup. I mean, Galopin Des Champs has looked unbelievable so far, at least in the latter part of this season. Particularly impressive at Christmas, again in the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival. Is there anything for you that can get close to him?
Hopefully Hewick.
Love that.
Yeah, like, he's looked impressive, but I liked his style almost last year more so than I do this year. He seemed like his jumping isn't as fluent this year as what it has been last year. I seen him a bit quicker last year, I think, and attacking his fences a little bit more. That's what I would like to see out of Galopin Des Champs. He seems like he's just happy to slow down a small bit and get up over from A to B. And look, he was obviously very impressive the other day at Leopardstown, and really put his head down from the back of the last and kicked on and won his race nicely. And there was more under the bonnet. He's got a serious engine. If the race is run to suit and everything like that, then you know he's going to be very tough to beat. And yeah, like Paul gave him some ride last year. That was incredible to watch. Took his time away out the back, and yeah, it was just a peach. But look, it's always an open race, isn't it? And it just depends on pace and everything like that in the race, and who's going on, where everybody's positioned, and the ground. You know, that's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, it will be a big factor, particularly for a horse like Hewick as well. The British Challenge, made up of the likes of Shishkin, L'Homme Corach Rambler. We know that you have, history with Shishkin, having passed him as he fell in the King George. Of the British Challenge, who would be the strongest place, you think, to lay a hand on the favourites?
Shishkin never ever looks impressive. He does it impressively, but he never looks impressive. Doesn't do it anyway in style or anything, but he gets the job done. I think he'll be really suited by Cheltenham in the Gold Cup, the extra couple of furlongs and things like that. It's I think he could play a big strong hand, and I think he's probably the best of the English. Okay,
and I've had to ask you to nominate a novice, either hurdler or chaser, to particularly look forward to, one that you're excited about seeing at the Cheltenham Festival. Who would that be?
Sergino.
Okay.
I've been very impressed with him. He looks classy, and is hopefully another superstar in the making. But he's looked very impressive this year. He looks like he's got plenty of boxes ticked.
Well, we saw what Burdett Road did at Cheltenham before he faced Sergino, and what Sergino then did to Burdett Road. I mean, this is a horse who's rated 100 on the flats, Burdett Road, who's already been very impressive over hurdles, and Sergino just made mincemeat of him, didn't he?
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with him the last day. He didn't look like he travelled that great, and we didn't see the best of him the last day, I don't think. So there will be more to come from him, but I still think probably Sergino, I'd favour him over Burdett Road, but we didn't see the best of him because he really picked up the time before and sprinted away, and there was no sign of that the last day.
Gav, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And best of luck indeed for Hewick and the rest of them at the Cheltenham Festival. Hopefully win it too for Jamie Snowden here.
Oh, hopefully, yeah. Look forward to it.
That's it from us here at Jamie Snowden Racing on the road ahead of the Cheltenham Festival. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.
Paddy Power, sponsors of the Road to Cheltenham.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.